Beehive inspections of an amateur beekeeper.
The beekeeper gently stuffs a handful of dried pine needles into his smoker. Letting their earthy scent fill the airwin, he prepares to calm the hive. The tall box at the edge of the group of beehives is a recent addition. Built from a large swarm he captured just days ago, still settling into their new home. The colony doesn't need any maintenance today, he's letting them establish themselves undisturbed. It's easy to tell the new hive is thriving. Bees buzz steadily in and out, their legs heavy with golden pollen. Each tiny worker returns home with purpose, helping to build the foundation of their growing colony. Today's inspection will focus on the 3 boxes positioned on the left side of the beehive cluster. These colonies have been active, and it's time to check their progress up close. First, let's go over the tools. You'll need a bee brush to gently sweep bees aside, a smoker to calm them with cool smoke, and a hive tool for prying open frames and scraping off excess wax or propolis. There's also a vaporizer, used to apply oxalic acid treatment, an important step in controlling harmful varroa mites that can threaten the health of the colony. He goes ahead and lights his smoker, preparing it to gently calm the bees before the inspection begins. As he begins to disassemble the hive, only a small puff of smoke is needed. The scent mimics a forest fire, triggering an instinct in the bees. They rush to fill their stomachs with honey in case they need to abandon the hive. This distraction makes them less defensive, allowing for a smoother and safer inspection. He carefully pulls out a frame from the brood box, inspecting the comb for signs of healthy brood and stored pollen. He notes that there are no eggs on this frame, something he'll need to keep in mind as he checks the rest of the hive. He gently slides out the next frame. This one has honey which are seen cells, glistening with golden nectar. Some already capped with wax, showing that the bees have been busy storing food. The next frame he pulls out isn't drawn out yet. Just bare foundation with only a few bees crawling across it. That's expected though. Bees typically start building and working from the center of the hive outward. The next frame reveals a mix of resources. Patches of fresh pollen tucked between cells of glistening honey. After flipping the frame, he spots several sections of capped honey, signaling that the bees have already started preserving their stores for the days ahead. As he inspects the next frame, a closer look reveals tiny, pearly eggs nestled at the bottom of the cells. It's a good sign. The queen has been active, and the brood cycle is progressing as it should. He gives the hive another gentle puff of smoke, encouraging the bees to stay calm and move deeper into the frames as he continues the inspection. The next frame reveals healthy larvae, small white grub-like shapes, curled at the bottom of the cells, near the center of the frame. Their presence confirms that the queen has been laying and the brood is developing right on schedule. The queen isn't visible on this frame, but that's not unusual. She can be elusive. Flipping it over, he spots a generous section of capped honey. Always a reassuring sight. It means the bees are storing food and preparing for the days ahead. On the next frame, he finds capped brood, a sign that pupae are developing safely inside. In the top right corner, a cluster of larvae is still visible, soon to be sealed in with wax as they continue their transformation into adult bees. On this next frame, the larger bees you see are drones, the males of the hive. They're bulkier and have bigger eyes compared to the worker bees. Scattered among them are more patches of capped brood, showing that the colony is steadily growing. You can also spot some bees with their heads deep in the comb, feeding on honey. That behavior is a response to the earlier smoke, which triggered their instinct to fill up in case they needed to evacuate the hive. He takes a moment to scrape off what beekeepers often call wonky comb or burr comb, irregular bits of wax that the bees build in odd places, like across the tops of frames. Removing it helps ensure the frames fit snugly back into the box and prevents the bees from sealing everything too tightly together. Most frames come with a wax foundation, a thin sheet of beeswax, or plastic coated in wax that sits in the center of the frame. It serves as a guide for the bees, helping them build straight, even comb within the frame. This makes inspections easier, and helps maintain the structure of the hive as the colony grows. You will see a frame with a foundation on the third frame he pulls from this box. There is apparent honey on this one. There is capped brood on this one. We've found the queen on this frame. He points to her as she moves quickly across the comb, noticeably longer and more slender than the worker bees surrounding her. Her presence is a great sign, and the tiny eggs nearby confirm she's actively laying and doing her job. It's important to return the frames in the same orientation and order they were taken out. Bees are highly organized, and even small changes can disrupt their carefully structured hive. Keeping things consistent helps maintain harmony and reduces stress on the colony. This frame holds both capped brood and visible larvae, clear signs of a productive hive. It's often said that one frame of hatched brood leads to 2 frames full of active worker bees. As those young bees emerge, they'll take on vital tasks within the colony, from nursing to foraging. Here's an old queen cell, also known as a swarm cell. It's a larger, peanut-shaped structure that hangs vertically from the comb. These cells are built when the colony prepares to raise a new queen, often during swarming. It's empty and aged. It's likely from a previous swarm event. This frame holds a nice mix of pollen and honey. The yellow blobs tucked into the cells are stored pollen. At the top, you can see capped honey, sealed off for long-term storage. We'll zoom in now to show the eggs. Tiny, white specks, standing upright at the bottom of the cells. Each one a sign that the queen has been actively laying. This smaller box, known as a honey super, is used solely for storing honey. Beekeepers often use smaller boxes for this purpose because a full box of honey can weigh up to 80 pounds, making it much easier to handle when it's time to harvest. Just below the honey super, there's a metal grate called a queen excluder. It allows worker bees to pass through freely, but blocks the larger queen, preventing her from laying eggs in the honey super. This keeps the honey frames clean and brood-free, making extraction much easier. This frame contains fresh eggs, tiny, white specks neatly placed at the bottom of the cells. Their presence is another good sign that the queen is active and the brood cycle is continuing smoothly. The eggs on this frame have already hatched, and now you can see tiny white larvae curled at the bottom of the cells. This stage comes just a few days after the eggs are laid, marking the next step in the brood's development toward becoming adult bees. He's scanning the frame for the queen, who should have a red mark on her back. Beekeepers often mark their queens with a small colored dot. This helps track her age and makes it easier to spot her among thousands of bees. Each color corresponds to a specific year, and it also helps identify if a new, unmarked queen has taken over the colony. This frame is loaded with honey cells, glistening with nectar in various stages of curing, and many already capped with a thin layer of wax.
In the bottom right corner of this frame, you can see larvae, white curled shapes nestled in their cells alongside patches of capped brood that will likely hatch soon. There's also a noticeable number of drones on this frame, easily spotted by their larger size and rounder bodies. Notice the large bullet-shaped capped cells on this frame. Those are drone brood. Drones are the male bees of the colony, while worker bees are female. Remarkably, the hive knows exactly which type of bee to produce, depending on the colony's needs. The queen and workers determine this by how the queen lays eggs and how the larvae are cared for. He carefully removes the comb that's hanging below the frame, an extra build-up that bees sometimes create when space allows. Unfortunately, this section contains some drone brood, which means a few drones will have to be removed in the process. While it's never ideal, managing excess comb helps keep the hive organised and easier to inspect. Notice the small cup-shaped structure at the bottom of this frame. It could be the beginning of another swarm cell. This hive is thriving and appears quite full, which often signals that the bees may be preparing to swarm. To prevent that, he'll remove the cell. The goal is to keep the colony strong and productive right here, rather than losing a large portion of bees to a swarm. On this next frame, there's another queen cup, an early sign the bees may be preparing to swarm. It will need to be removed to help discourage them from leaving the hive. Although the queen hasn't been spotted yet during this inspection, the presence of multiple queen cups suggests the colony may be getting ready to split. Sometimes even a healthy, well-functioning hive will prepare to swarm simply because it feels overcrowded. While working through the frame, he accidentally opened a sealed drone cell. It's a common occurrence and actually presents an opportunity to demonstrate a useful technique. Some beekeepers intentionally open capped drone cells to inspect the larvae inside. Since mites often prefer to reproduce in drone brood due to its longer development time, this method helps monitor and manage mite levels within the hive.
This frame holds both capped brood and visible larvae, clear signs of a productive hive. It's often said that one frame of hatched brood leads to 2 frames full of active worker bees. As those young bees emerge, they'll take on vital tasks within the colony, from nursing to foraging.
This frame has honey on both sides, cells filled with nectar in various stages of curing. That wraps up the inspection of the 3 main boxes. Now we'll take a quick look at this smaller box. It houses a young queen who is currently out on her mating flights. During this period, she'll leave the hive to mate with drones in the area before returning to begin laying eggs and establishing her own brood nest. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts, especially if you have any tips or suggestions for things we could have done differently during the inspection. Your feedback helps us grow and keeps the hive thriving.